4 of posting every day until I start the Artist Way. And today I want you to hear from someone who has gone through the Artist Way.
Artist Way, I immediately went, nope, not for me. I am not an artist. It didn't occur to me to think about it at all. So I'm a pharmacist. I'm now an entrepreneur. I want this science backed. I want all the technical, do this, do that. And we had talked that I was having trouble in my entrepreneurship journey because things felt really Jenga-ish or like Tetris-like, just this piece and this piece. And it never really felt like a good flow. I think you could figure that out, but I couldn't because I was that science mind. 4, 2, and 2 always equals 4, and it never equals 5. The Artist Way ended up helping me understand how creativity is not just the glue that brings things together, but it's like the nice gooiness in between things of our life that otherwise would be regimented. And that gooey, nice middle is the creativity part that actually ends up allowing us to flow from one thing to the next without it being really regimented. So I didn't even understand that before the Artist Way. And I love that Julia would explain things in a way where even like a very regimented mind like mine could understand intuition and flowing and creativity and all these words that I would have said I understood, but I really didn't understand well because I never allowed myself to experience it. So the gift of you almost pulling me into the Artist Way.
I didn't put a gun to your head, did I?
Almost. It was almost. But without your passion of this helps so many people. This is so awesome. It will really open up your life to, it makes it sound like it's like a magic mushroom. It's especially for, I think, people who have that mindset of 2 + 2 only equals 4 and always equals 4, to start really expanding who we are and what we understand about the universe by how we experience things. But we have been taught to always box things. And so going through the Artist Way, listening to how Julia invites us, not tells us, but invites us to experience creativity and flow and our own thought processes. It was very freeing. And I think that without the invitation that I would always hear from her, that gentle urging, the way she does it, I don't know that I would have been able to open up more. And maybe that was the wonkiness that I couldn't get previous, because I have had more sales after being able to release myself into that thought process and the way of thinking. I don't believe that was available for me before. And what was the worst is that I thought I was doing everything that I was supposed to do because it was like the limit of my understanding at the time. So when you go into this Artist Way and you have this expansion of understanding how humans even work and have an expansion of understanding of what we're really capable of in artistry and creativity and flowing and ideas, I didn't know what I didn't know. And then now I have this whole other space of things that I now understand and get to experience. And amazingly, it actually made creativity so much easier. So yeah, for that, I will always be thankful that you came into my life and told me about the Artist Way and made me do it. Thank you for being that tenacious and really feeling into your intuition that that is what I needed, because it was, and I didn't know enough to realize that was what I needed.
I'm hearing like there was just like an opening. By the way, just plugging your business. You've helped me so much with crypto and understanding and really taking a practical, tactical approach. So I just am honoring that part of you that also serves your business so well and has served me well. And then also I'm hearing the Artist Way opened up, if we think of it from like left and right brain, like it was helping that merging of both logical, analytical sides and then our opening, and maybe also through the lens of a business that's also connected to a higher power.
Yeah, that was wonderful and unexpected. That the Artist Way reopened me. I did have faith in the past, but I feel like maybe I had blocked it off. It wasn't always with the goal of what I wanted, and helped reminded me that it is not itself a goal, but part of me. And that was really freeing too, because through that, actually, my path has led me closer to God and feel really opened up to even make that a pillar of my life, which I think is a huge quality benefit in how I'm living now. So like ripple effect, the Artist Way took like somebody with a really rigid scientific mind, opening up into creativity. The creativity touched back into our connection of God with humanity. And that's how we were made. We were made to be creative. And I never really realized that before. It's like, yes, humans are creative, but that we were actually made to be creative was mind-blowing stuff. And that led me to see even other things that I was dealing with in my life differently. So, for example, I've got 4 kiddos. I'm not always getting along with all of them. And being open to creativity, being a little bit more connected with faith and how things can be, it brought me even further down the path to how can I find creative ways to connect to my kids. So there's a lot of entangled threads in there, and it just is like a beautiful tapestry. Like my family, my kids now, it's really beautiful. And I think my life has gotten a little bit more colorful because of the artist way in that aspect.
I love the connection. It's not just your work and having this receiving or more of a flow of ideas, but also with our relationships and with our family, with our children. And one of the theme that came out of our group too, with another mother, was that so much of our inner artist is our inner child. And when we get to also parent with our inner child, to have our inner child play with our children and be able to still parent, of course, but having that opening to play and to play in an unshameful, less critical way, I find for myself was a big freeing part of the artist way. I don't have to be so hard on everything I create. And to me, that's a weight that's still being lifted time and time again. But I love to hear that this process has connected you more with your children.
Yeah. And it's great that you brought that up, because so with part of the artist way, that is a theme that comes up a lot, like our inner child and being playful. And I had never, even as a child, really thought of myself as playful. And so I still feel resistance to that. I still have a problem with how do I become playful? I feel like I have to force myself to be playful, which is crazy. I understand. But what was great about the artist way is I think how I could explain all the ripple effects and all the things that the artist way made available to me. Now, if I had explained it to myself before the artist way, I think it might have sounded like too big of a change. It might have sounded like too big of a chunk to really bite off. That was surprising as well to me too, that Julia just puts it in a way that's really just this next step, that all of these sorts of aha moments, transformation was available, and it was not too much of a stretch. And the way that you would facilitate, I thought was really beautiful and was a huge additive to the artist way. Someone was comparing to, I could buy the book and it's $25, or I can join Elizabeth's group, and what's the value add? And I thought it was a huge value. One, because the last 50 books that I bought, I read many of them, and most of them are still like the bookmark is in the first chapter still of the ones that I picked up, except for the artist way, because you were there encouraging us weekly. We got all the way through it. And that's how I got the transformations, being able to walk through that process, not just by the book. So kudos. I'm a big fan of the process. So thank you. But yeah, so huge transformation. I may not have thought it would be possible for me, but your program, the way it's laid out in the artist way, was attainable and easily attainable, I would almost say. As long as we showed up, you were there to encourage us and keep us on track. So that was awesome.
Mm.
It just, what's coming to me is if God wrote the Bible, but we all have pastors, because it's really hard to, it's maybe like we need that, a lot of us need a little bit more connection to it and keep us going. And I found that watching you go through the artist way while we were going through the artist way, I thought it made it more relatable to me. It made me feel a little bit more alive. I think that was a huge value to see somebody else I trusted and who was more intuitive than me also go through the experience and the process, because your intuition, your connection to other things about it, when you would share that, I thought was a great add, because there were things that maybe I didn't even pick up, or I think there were also a couple of times she is a phenomenal writer. I could just read 1.5 million things from her. And so it was a joy to read. It was not difficult at all. And I would get 1.5 million nuggets in a single chapter. And yet you would still be able to come back and go, oh, and did you also pick up this and this nugget? So it really made it more rich. I understand it's Julia's book and all that, but that's definitely your program. So anyway, I just think you're a little too humble about that. And hearing your shares made it really feel closer and more attainable. Like a great example of that chapter, serendipity or surrender or being childlike. I thought that was really wonderful to see you go through it with us. And the way you brought us through it, it really just felt like a very personal program. We're getting personal transformations, even though we're in a group setting, especially in this day and age when we're thinking about AI and being copied and what's authentic. Is that your program, because you're in it with us, it really did feel very personal. And I think authentic is the best word that's coming to my mind. It just felt very one-on-one. And I love that about it. It wasn't just, hey, watch a video or anything like that. That personal interaction was a huge benefit. Made more of the information come alive for me. Thinking about, authenticity and AI and stuff like that. A lot of people may be scared. Oh, AI, it's going to replace humans and all this kind of stuff. But what AI can't replace is a human being human. And how better can a human be human than to really be able to dive into that creativity, just access that maybe with spiritual inspiration, maybe many of us have been cut off from. And so your program and Julia's work, I think, is really timely even now. And so it's not like an old book. There's 2,000-year-old book that a lot of us still read. But yeah, I love that because I think I might have, bypassed, oh, it's a 20-year-old book or whatever. But what's in it is, I feel for today's person. So for many reasons, I'm very thankful to you, to Julia, for having that be available to us and sharing this lovely experience that I think my life may not have been as rich if I hadn't. So thank you.
Oh,